I'm going to share my story of what I did last year, which I'll kind of go through. So thank you all for coming and listening. So I think it's very important to say that I'm not a personal trainer and I'm not a nutritionist. So if anything comes up today, please obviously seek the advice of someone who is actually qualified, not myself. But there is a reason why I've been asked, and that is I am an average person. So I think it is good to get that perspective of what is possible from a non-professional. I think is a great perspective because most people kind of considering maybe going more plant-based are an average person who isn't that person. So it's good to kind of share an average person's perspective. So why am I speaking? As I mentioned, I'm an average person. My aim is to inspire both vegans and non-vegans of what is possible on a plant-based diet. I believe that there's so many reasons that prevent people exploring what they believe to be veganism to be because it's boring or it's unhealthy or all of these things that might discredit the notion of people being open to exploring what vegan is. I also think I put that bottom point there as well to mention that I think it's an unfair thing that vegans have to deal with, and that is the unfair expectation to be healthy or rather to not be unhealthy. And I just think that that's just a battle that we unfairly have to deal with. If you cough as a vegan, it's because you're vegan, etc. And if you're not fit or healthy, it's because you're vegan. So I guess the ways that we can discredit these excuses, I suppose, is a good place to start. So, we've all been, I presume, in this place before, a world as being a non-vegan. My background, I'm a podiatrist. I studied at uni and I did the same nutrition course that any medical professional has done. It's about 3 or 4 hours. And we see this food pyramid. And right in the middle of it is meat, egg, dairy. And these are the things that comprise a healthy diet and lifestyle. And therefore, without these things, you're likely to be unhealthy. And this is just what is institutionalized knowledge. Just on a bit of a side anecdote, I work in a medical center and often I hear nurses do health assessments and through the walls I can hear such remarks as, oh, are you having enough dairy? Are you having enough cheese? Are you having enough meat? And these are the probing questions that I hear from medical professionals in the buildings I'm working in. And it's obviously quite a little bit frustrating hearing these, but also understandable because that is the exact knowledge that I was taught at uni as well. So, you need to get things like, I've written in the middle there, meat is high quality protein, milk is for strong bones and calcium, vegetarians are weak, bacon though, and going vegan, you're missing out on essential nutrients. Now, I was non-vegan for 30 years. I've always prioritized being healthy and fit and active. I've always done highly involved sports. And obviously you have a lot of belief systems about these things that meat is high quality protein, etc. And these are all important, as we've seen with the food pyramid, vital components to a well-balanced diet and obviously living. So as I mentioned, I was non-vegan for 30 years. I've now been vegan for almost 5 years. There's a lot of reasons to not challenge. When everything's going well, I was fit, I was healthy, I was athletic, so why would I evaluate something so major as diet? It's a pretty big lifestyle change to make, and there's a lot to risk, potentially, and also potentially not too much to gain. We all have our different reasons that might hold us a certain way to explore this, whether it's cultural upbringings or belief systems, traditions, etc. I'll be honest, so just before I went vegan 5 years ago, it was my genuine belief, and I think it's important to share this story. I was one of those typical guys who did the kilo meat challenge, so I ate a kilo of steak in a setting. I was one of those people. And it was my genuine belief that I would be unfitter, weaker, get sick, and in general just be more unhealthy. That was my absolute belief system as to going vegan, but I did it purely for moral and ethical reasons. So I was content personally to take a hit to my health because I felt it was wrong to oppress animals and cause harm. So I went through a bit of a withdrawal symptom phase where I think there was a bit of psychological and physiological things happening in my body where I did get some headaches, etc. when I cut out animal products. But I just believe that was more of a withdrawal symptom and addiction kind of scenario rather than an actual physiological backing. I just thought I'd copy and paste this quote and then I'll go into more my sharing things. So the question that we often hear is being 100% plant-based healthy? and the leading dietetics and nutrition boards around the world have kind of made this bold statement to say that, I'll just read it, the appropriately planned vegetarian, including vegan diets are healthful, nutritionally adequate, and may provide health benefits for the prevention and treatment of certain diseases. These diets are appropriate for all stages of life cycle, including pregnancy, lactation, infancy, childhood, adolescence, other adulthood, and for athletes. Plant-based diets are more environmentally sustainable than diets rich in animal products because they use fewer natural resources and are associated with much less environmental damage. Vegetarians and vegans are at a reduced risks of certain health conditions, including ischemic heart disease, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, which is high blood pressure, certain types of cancer, and obesity. And I'll just skip that bit for the next, but if you want to read it, it's all on the internet. So this obviously just dispels and goes completely contradictory to my pre-vegan belief systems of it being an unhealthy, unsustainable lifestyle. I'll just go into my training habits. So in general, I've just been a home trainer, so basic home equipment, running, stairs, things like that. I feel we've had so many great talks today today and yesterday. We had Forrest Nash speaking about muscle training and strength building on plant-based nutrition. We had Jack obviously talking about the importance of advocacy. I personally like using, we have so many opportunities to dispel myths about veganism. So I personally like to take the route of showing physical capabilities because vegans are unhealthy and unfit and weak. But if you want to dispel the myth that veganism is boring or vegan food is boring, we saw that beautiful cheesecake demonstration just before as well, and that just dispels some of the myths or reasons that people may want to discredit exploring this notion of being vegan. For the wrong reasons, of course. They're apparent optics of what veganism is. So, what I'm going to now share is what I've been doing dietary-wise for the last 4 years. So these are my go-tos. I pretty much have 5 meals on repeat, and this is what's fueled what I will share to be what I did last year endurance-wise. So my favorite is banana cacao smoothies. It's just kind of banana cacao. I make my own oat milk. You put dates, berries, walnuts, flakes, chia seeds, hemp seeds, peanut butter. It's just eating a chocolate dessert, and I have that for dinner, and it's amazing. So you're just eating a chocolate cake for dinner, and it's just berries and bananas and nuts and seeds. It's amazing. Obviously soups, and I super load them with about 14, 15 different vegetables. I'm probably about 80% raw and 80% fruit and veg, 80% of that would be raw. I love my sprouts. I make my own sprouts at home. Lots of raw fruit, sweet potatoes, or roast veggies. I love doing like bulk food stuff. So you go to Wasteless Pantry, Wayne Pay, Source Foods, things like that. And I always get my, various beans, chickpeas. I make my own crackers. They're just pepita, sesame, sunflower, chia seeds. They last about a month. Well, they don't last me a month, but they do last a month. And you can make about 3 oven trays for about $15 of seeds. So if you were to buy them in the shop, they cost about $8 or $10 for that much. You can make 2 or 3 oven trays for $15. So that's a nice little life hack, and they've got heaps of good quality stuff in them. Obviously I love my veggies, my Brussels sprouts, my stir fries, things like that. So this is what I eat all the time. It's smoothie bowls, salads, roast veggies, or like a curry pasta kind of thing. And they're the 4 things I eat. That's pretty much, I'm salad king is what I do. So a lot of people think that is not enough fuel, but what I'd like to share now is what I did last year. It was around about the 10th of January, 12th of January last year. I just woke up with an idea of I want to make this the year that I just do endurance-based stuff. I decided that I wanted to do 10 kilometers every day for the whole year. By foot, and that's a combination of walking and running. It started off that way. I figured in my mind that I might as well get a bit of a head start, so I kind of averaged 13.8k. It was around then that I decided, so I had a bit of a lazy first 2 weeks of the year, and then I was like, no, I'm going to do this. So again, my goal of this was it was a simple goal. I wonder if I can just do 10 kilometers a day for a year and see what happens. That's how it started, and then I thought, well, I might as well get a little bit of a buffer in case I get sick or injured, which I didn't get either, which was lucky. And then February I did 17.3, March I did 22.8 Ks a day, April I did 25.5 Ks a day, and this is all talking to the pre-vegan Stefan, and that was the guy who believed that you couldn't do these things on salads, on smoothie bowls, on vegetables, on nuts, you know. So as I mentioned, I was that person who used to eat a kilo of steak. I used to be that guy. So to convert from that to someone who just ate fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, salads, smoothie bowls, it was definitely enough sustenance to get me to do 25.5K a day for a month, 21.5K. So just as a reference, 21.1 Ks is half a marathon. So pretty much in all of these months, or in most of them, I did over half a marathon a day, combination of walking and running. I probably did about 50-50 walking and running. And obviously doing this sustainably or like ongoingly is quite a challenge, physically and mentally as well. So then we progressed to August, 26.7, 28 in September, 25.5 in October, and 23.9 in November. So by this stage, I'm kind of creeping up to the over half a marathon a day mark, and then December comes about. So I wake up on December, and in December, I'm like, well, what am I going to do now? I've done over half a marathon a day for a year. So what wild, crazy thing can I do to prove that vegans aren't weak? So I decided on the 2nd of December but I woke up and I thought, I want to do 30 consecutive days of over 30 kilometers a day, and I want to do 1,000 kilometer month. So I averaged 34.3 Ks a day in December. So obviously I decided on the 2nd of December. I did a lazy 22 on the 1st. But I did 30 consecutive days of over 30 Ks. And just to let you know, the mindset of that is you wake up every day in the morning at 0. And you're just like, you know, like, I'm at 0 and I have to do another 30. So my life was very unsociable that month because I had to get up at 5 and I would do a 2-hour run in the morning, or a 2-hour walk in the morning and then a 2-hour run at night. So it would literally be wake up, do 2 hours in the morning, work all day, get home at 6, eat, and then walk until I showered and went to bed. That's what I did for the whole month. And I went late to parties because I just had to do more kilometers. So that was my thing. So as you can see, I did a couple over 40. I think I did 4 days over 40. And just to put 34 Ks into perspective, a full marathon is 42.2 kilometers. So I was kind of doing 3/4 of a marathon every day for a whole month. And again, this is just what I like to use as a form of hopefully positive vegan activism to show that, again, my 5-year-ago self would have looked at this and thought this is impossible. I certainly wasn't doing this as a non-vegan, that's for sure. I found my recovery to be quicker. One particular side anecdote I've noticed as well is I was someone who used to get sick every 3, 4, maximum 5 months. I think the longest I'd ever made it without getting sick was 5 months ever. I'm now on my 2+ year anniversary of having the slightest cough, and I think that's attributable to being plant-based. So all of these things that I thought weren't possible are happening since I've been plant-based. And again, a lot of people who say that you might not be able to receive adequate nutrition for endurance-based, I want to hopefully prove to these people that, again, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a personal trainer, I'm just a relatively average guy, and I did 34.5 Ks for a month, which is 1,063 kilometers for the month. So my year in review, I averaged 23.6 Ks for the year, which is over half a marathon a day. And as you can see, the last month was a bit wild. And that was 8,614 kilometers by foot. So that's, I think that's, I don't know, close to Brisbane and back. I don't know, it's somewhere far, Sydney and back, I did by foot. And I also want to mention that I work full time. So this was quite a mental and physical challenge to achieve this. Just looked up, it's 24,000 steps a day, which is 8.5 million steps for the year. So again, I just want to show the average folk that you can definitely do these things. There is definitely adequate nutrition in primarily raw food, plant-based diets. Whole food, of course. Sorry, just skip there a bit. My goal for 2023 was, of course, to show what was possible on a whole food plant-based diet for endurance. I have personally been more endurance-based, so I'm more of a endurance-based athlete than a strength and power-based athlete. But what I have focused on for the first few months of this year is I'm now shifting my focus to strength, to muscle building. I've never been a big guy, but I've already noticed in the last 2 months I've put on quite a lot of mass and strength, even though my body is geared more towards endurance. I also want to maintain, so I like to maintain a sub 40-minute 10-kilometer run, and I want to maintain muscle growth on that kind of pace. So essentially what I want to demonstrate with this year is to show that the same body can be positively responsive for both endurance-based and also muscle and strength-based growth on a whole food plant-based diet. And obviously I believe that this is really important for a form of positive activism, again, just to dispel or discredit that myth that vegans are weak or unhealthy or unsustainably non-athletic. Again, to prove people like me 5 years ago wrong. I took this photo a couple of weeks ago. My average is 15, so I'm still doing 15 Ks a day this year, surprisingly. But even though I'm doing that, I'm focusing more on the strength. So yeah, I'm still kind of demonstrating that in that regard. So I was thinking about not showing these or showing these, but I might as well show off. There we go. So I've put on a little bit of muscle already this year. Yay. Okay, we'll get over that. So, but I was just going to say, doing 23.5 Ks a year is not great for muscle growth. I also might say that. It's terrible for muscle growth. So I'm toning down the endurance stuff, but hopefully demonstrating that the muscle side can be done. Just a bit of an overview. I'm sure we've all heard the thing that, plants are incomplete proteins and all of that kind of rubbish that we hear. All essential amino acids, which are essential just means the ones that our bodies can't synthesize or create ourselves. We have to get them from outside sources. Every plant has all essential amino acids. So that's often a myth that will come out from trolls or antagonists. But all plants, as long as you're not eating just one plant, as long as you're having even just a moderately diverse plant-based diet, you will be comfortably receiving all your amino acids. What was great, if any of you tuned into Forrest's speech yesterday, I think he touched over this point as well. They did a several-week study comparing plant-based versus protein-matched, which is the key component. So I'm just going to get a quick drink. So I might just rewind a second. Previous studies have compared vegan protein sources to animal-based protein sources. The animal-based proteins have outperformed them in previous studies. The key thing about this study is they actually protein matched them, which was something that had never been done before. And what they showed is when they compared the vegan group, I think it was about 8 weeks this study, to non-vegan groups, when they both had 1.6 grams per kilogram, there was absolutely no statistically significant difference between the plant-based muscle gains and the animal-based muscle gains. And that was, strength and muscle synthesis they evaluated. A few other studies there, if anyone wants the slides, I can pass them on. But essentially the main summary of this is there is absolutely no difference when it comes to muscle building and strength between plant-based and animal-based protein sources, as long as you are matching the protein level. One thing, as I mentioned right at the start, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a personal trainer, but the people that I did follow is where I've got a lot of my information from. Simon Hill, highly recommend. He is plant-based himself. His book, The Proof is in the Plants, is where I kind of got a lot of my knowledge from. He seems what I believe to be one of the most objective evaluators of the literature. And he has a wonderful podcast called The Proof. He interviews the best health advisors in very niche specific topics. So if you really want to look up any particular real niche topic, his podcast has, 200, 300, 400 episodes, and they're all absolutely amazing. Dr. Matthew Nagler as well, he's a naturopath in Canada, and he's been vegan I think for 10 or 12 years, and he releases real great content. First of all, for your own self-knowledge, and also to debunk a lot of non-vegan myths around nutrition. Neil Bernard is great. Nemo Delgado is If any of you watched The Game Changers a few years ago, he is someone who's been vegetarian since birth, and I think vegan for about 8 years, and he was the first guy who was on a health and fitness magazine front page as a vegan, I should say, and he won several, I can't remember, I'm not in the space, but he won some competitions about bodybuilding. And Michael Greger, of course, who's written books, I think How Not to Diet, and another book I can't remember the title of, but real great content as well. I think he has the website nutritionfacts.org, and that's a wonderful resource as well. I think that's about it. Yeah, there we are. Thank you for listening. And if there are any questions, we have a hand. Hello.
Hello. With all the training you did last year, have you thought about running any ultras?
Yes, is the answer. So the reason why I couldn't do ultras last year is because I was doing almost one every day, so I didn't have any energy to do an ultra. I think the biggest run I did last year was like 30 or 32. I don't think I could do more than that because I was just doing half marathon every day, so I was pretty tired.
I'm just saying, once you got to the end of that, you could have had a couple of weeks recovered and then got it done like straight away.
Yeah, I'm lazy. I've got to get back together. No, I will. I do want to do longer stuff again because I'm focusing more on muscle building this year. I still want to maintain, as I mentioned, like sub 40-minute 10Ks, which I'm still about 39, and I want to not lose that. But I think just running once a week, I can still maintain that, do long runs, and also still focus on muscle.
Well, definitely think about those.
I will do long ones, and I'll be posting it with for my this is my form of I do outreach activism in terms of conversations about the ethics and morals. That is probably my biggest thing that I do. But I think doing this kind of stuff has the benefits of getting that discrediting an excuse, essentially. Yep.
My question was for you, but this lady might be able to answer it.
There you go.
I do long distance walks, so they take 6 hours, and I drink Bindi nutrition that have just shut down, and I'm after another electrolyte drink, vegan, nutritious. Anyone got any replacements for Bindi?
I honestly, I'm someone who can just go on a 4-hour run without any water or anything. I don't know. Anyone else?
Yeah, there's that someone called Vix Nutrition.
Yeah.
Vix Nutrition.
Vix.
Yeah, he's a vegan.
Vegan?
It depends if you're just wanting electrolytes.
No, I need sugar. I need
carbs
the sugar carbs.
Electrolytes. Yeah. Pix has just also come out with a carb option as well as electrolytes.
Okay.
And it's always been very settling on my stomach. It's never.
Well, this is the thing. I've trained my stomach to go on Bindi, and it's vegan, and it's from WA, and they're closed down.
Yeah, Vix is created by an ultra runner here in Perth.
Cool.
So yeah, like Tribe and Trail sells it. So it's just an effervescent tablet. So it's really easy to use as well. So try them out.
Have a look. Thank you.
I'll say if there's any other questions, you're welcome to get me privately. Yep, is that we?
Go
Lovell.
I have some personal question about your macros.
Yeah.
So about your macros during your endurance training, and now what you like when you went to physical or more like muscle building, what changes to make?
Yep.
And maybe some tips or tricks, some favorite meals, like how to meet them.
Yep. I'll just be quick with this one. What I noticed, what I realized is the shift I've done is I've gone more protein, obviously, this year. I was mainly fruits, vegetables, mainly last year. So I found that I could sustain myself just with fruit, vegetables, a few nuts and seeds there. It was pretty much those photos I showed earlier, just smoothie bowls, salads, was literally probably 80% of my meals. This year I'm definitely putting a little bit more tempeh, tofu, maybe a few more nuts and seeds, slightly less fruits, but happy to have a chat, more specific stuff. But I'd say the biggest change is I wasn't having that much protein last year. I don't know if that's smart or not. Again, I'm not a professional, but my body did the job. So
you maintain muscle even on just fruits. And stuff.
Yeah, but I think fruits and vegetables are still so critical for that as well. I don't think but I'm just adding. I'd say everything's staying the same. I'm just, in terms of every bit of volume I'm increasing, I'm just putting those protein sources in on top of what I was doing. Yep.
So most of your nutrition comes from actual meals, foods, not so like supplements like.
No, a B12 supplement. I've recently, she gave me a cheesecake flavored protein powder. I generally don't do protein powders. I just eat whole foods. Yeah. But I'll be over there somewhere. If anyone has any questions, you can ask me after. Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Stefan, for your time and that talk.